What's up guys, welcome to the solutions video for the challenge, the Github Challenge. And before I move on, just make sure you create your Github account, choose a username that's relatively professional, please, because it becomes your portfolio, right? I didn't really listen to that. I chose my username is pretty much what it was in middle school. No one told me, I just kind of made it and kind of stuck with it. I should probably change it. But anyways, moving on. So steps one, let's create a new repository. Usually you could find the button to create a new repository in where it lists out all of the repositories that you have. So for the solo encoded organization, these are the repositories that are available right now. And if you look to the right, there's a new button right here. So create that new. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer. My internet's a little off today, but you'll be prompted to something like this. Create a new repository. See? Now let's just create a random repository name. So let's say test repo. You could give it a description. This is a test repo. You don't have to, but you can. You can make it public or private. Private, usually you could pay GitHub a subscription fee, and then you can make your repository private so that other people can't see it, right? But right now, if it's public, it's essentially kind of open source, but that's kind of where it's important. You could add a license right here. There's these different types of licenses which you could look at, but most people use the MIT license, which makes it in the realm of open source. So all you do is you can initialize with the README if you want. You don't have to. Let's create a repo. So this essentially just creates a space, creates a repository online, and it has a specific URL attached to it, right? Your origin, essentially later when you copy it down, right? Your alias will point to the remote address right here. So this is an online repository. It already has this license file in it. So if you click on clone, you could clone using SSH or HTTPS. So for now, don't worry about it. Just click on copy. You could download the zip, but don't do that. Just click on copy, or you could go in here and copy everything. But I usually just copy, and then go into your command line and choose a directory that you want to have this particular repo in. So you could git clone, and then you paste that in, and it clones the repo. So if you ls again here, you'll see that the test repo has been added in right here. So let's go into the test repo. Cool. And let's double check what our particular challenge was. Clone repo into the local directory. We've already done that. Make changes and commit those changes. All right. So let's touch index.html, right? And if you do git status, you'll notice that these are the changes: git add, git commit, add index.html, for example. Now let's push those changes. So normally you're not supposed to push to master, but if it's something that you're working on your own, it's okay. You don't have to make PRs for yourself to review, but you know, it's usually good practice to create another branch when you're working on a new feature or a new bug or whatever. You know, you leave master alone and never push directly to master. But for our purposes right now, I'm just going to show you how to do that. So you do git push origin master. So the origin is essentially your remote address, and master is the branch that you're targeting to, right? And by default, master is what's created. So if you look up here and we go back to here and we refresh that repository, you'll see the index.html file that I created here and I pushed, right? So it's right here. Boom. We already just made our first push to our test repo, essentially. Now, going back to the challenge, it says, okay, create and check out a new branch, make changes to those new branches and commit them, push them to GitHub. So let's do that all now. So git checkout -b for new branch. So this is a way to create a new branch and check it out at the same time. So we could say new branch, right? So if you do git branch, you'll see that there's master and new branch. So let's create a new file here. So touch new file .html something. So if you do git status, you can add, commit, add new file. Right, and let's push this, but this time it's not master, it's the branch, the particular branch that you created. So it'll be called new branch, because that's what we named it right here, right? New branch. Boom. So when you push that, one thing that will be unique here is right there. You see that yellow kind of your recent pushes, push branches. So you'll see that that particular new branch file or new file is not here. It's because it's over on a different branch. And to get to a different branch, you could click here and then go to that branch. But let's compare and make the pull request, which was part of the next particular section. So going back to the tutorial, it says push the new branch to GitHub. We did that, right? So GitHub, create a new pull request, merging your new branch back into master. So we're gonna do that particular step, the next step, and basically pulling back to your local directory. So if you look at this prompt right here, this is an open pull request form, right? Right here, the base is essentially the where you're trying to merge your target branch, right? So what this is saying is I want to make a pull request suggesting changes that I made in the new branch into the base master branch. Now this can be changed. If you have multiple branches, you could change it. Same with here, right? So that's something to look at. That's definitely something to look at. And here you could add a note. By default, it takes your commit message, your last commit message, I believe. But you could say add new file. Yeah, I mean, this is just an example, and you could leave a comment. This is a test comment, or obviously something more. When you're doing it for real with other people, you want to say like add new file to add new feature, etc. Right? Also, you want to maybe give them information on what this feature is, so you could actually drag and drop images into here, I believe. So let me like find a quick image that I have. Let's try this. You could drag drop and you could preview that, and here's a clock essentially. So what I usually do on my pull requests professionally is I make a GIF of the feature that I'm working on. If it's UI related, then I make a GIF of that feature, and then I'll drag it in and say this is a new feature, it does this, this is how you get to it, this is how you test it, and then usually there is tickets and working with a Jira or some kind of tracking system. I will talk a project tracking system. I'll talk about that in another video, but essentially people work off of tickets if you work in Agile, and they usually have a number. So you'll say like, I don't know, GCS or whatever the ticket is, ticket 2 or something like that. And then that kind of matches to the ticket that you're working on, and then this is essentially the message saying, hey, this is how I solved the ticket. So after you do that, you could add reviewers. So right now there's no one else on this org, but if you have working with people, you can say, hey, Bill, can you look at my pull request and review it? And then you could create the pull request. Normally, some teams work with labels as well, and labels are just what you think it is. You could say like, this particular pull request is ready for review. It needs help. It needs just a second pair of eyes. Like whatever it is, you could create your own labels, and you could work on it. But yeah, so now that I've done this, you could look at the files that were changed, and then this file was added, right? So you could take a view of that file. And you could go back, review, and you could say, hey, so this is like a reviewer. Hey, I looked everything. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. So that's pretty common. Looks good to me. Short for looks good to me. And you could approve. I'm not sure why I can't review here, but you can usually approve. It's probably because it's my own. And then there's no conflicts here. So let's go ahead and merge the pull request. Now, right here, I usually clean up and delete the branch. And then if we go back into the test repo and go to the master, which is here, you'll see that new file, that HTML. Now, one more thing before I finish this. The last step was to pull those new changes that was in master back into your local directory. Now, how do you do that? And if you look here, if you ls this, we're git branch, you'll notice that we're still in the new branch. So let's check out to master. Git check out master, right? So now if you look at branch, we're in master. And then if we ls, we don't have that new file. So we could do git pull master, or just git pull. And if we ls, it's a new file. So that's essentially it. It could get kind of confusing when you're doing this. There's a bunch of steps. You don't know where things are. You don't know what branch you're on. But the tip is just make sure you get a clear understanding of what's in my local directory and what branch I am at, and have I pulled the latest changes from the online repository in that state. So those two states, if you keep it separately in your mind, and then make sure you just don't confuse the branches that you're in, then you should be golden. But this will require some practice, and I highly recommend you just using, even if it's for your own project, just get in the habit of creating pull requests and then merging it in yourself for now, because then you'll have to deal with maybe merge conflicts. Well, I don't see why you will, but maybe you mess up, try to figure it out. The point is get as much practice using GitHub and Git as much as possible, because you're going to be using it for a while to come, and it's really fun. So, but yeah, I hope you guys were able to do this challenge successfully, and I hope the solution video helped. Again, links below on all of this stuff, and the music for this particular, the background music for this. Everything will be on here. Let me know if you want to see any additional things, or if you want me to change up the format for anything. Yeah, but thanks for coming back and seeing this video.